Right. Good morning, good people. Once again, my name is Hendrik Makaneta, and we will be doing our lesson for grade 7 maths. And of course, at the end of this lesson, you should be able to calculate the perimeter, the area, and the lengths of the various shapes. And of course, we will look at the triangles as well. Excuse me. Right. I'm sure you will recall that when you look at the lengths, the interesting thing here is that you need to also understand the type of triangles which you are working with. For example, we have the equilateral triangle, we have the isosceles triangle, the scalene, as well as the right-angled triangle. And of course, we all know by now how to define the isosceles triangle, for instance. In an isosceles triangle, we know that the two sides will be equal, and once two sides are equal, then you know that you are talking about the isosceles triangle. And of course, we also have an equilateral triangle. You should know by now that in an equilateral triangle, all the three sides must be equal. But equally, you will have the right-angled triangle, and we know that in any right-angled triangle, you'll have a right angle there, which is 90 degrees. So you will be able to see that there will be a line that is perpendicular to the other, which constitute or form a right angle. The last one, of course, is known as a scalene, and we've also defined it as a triangle with three sides which are not equal. In other words, you'll have different lengths of all the sides of your triangle. So that such a triangle is known as a scalene. We have an example on the board. We have the example, just like I said, we'll calculate the perimeter of our triangles. I want us to calculate the perimeter of this triangle. What will be the perimeter of this triangle? You can see in this triangle, we are given just one side, which is 12 millimeters. But I want us to use our knowledge of triangles to calculate the perimeter. Remember, I've just given you the different triangles. I've shown you that we have an equilateral triangle. We also have the scalene. We also have the right-angled triangle. But equally, we also have the isosceles triangle. Maybe before you can calculate the perimeter here, just tell me what is the type of this, what type of a triangle is this? What is this triangle called? What is the name of this triangle? Once you know the name of the triangle, then you will be able to calculate the perimeter without a problem. So you need to firstly define your triangle. What type of a triangle is this? So Junior, I'm just going to just give you a chance there just to reflect. What type of a triangle is this in front of you now? All right, let's go to Amo. Amo, I see your hand is up. Can you just carry on, Amo? Yes, Amo?
Sir, can
Yes,
you hear
Amo.
me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think it's an equilateral triangle
Exactly. Why do you say it's an equilateral triangle?
because all sides have the same length.
Because all the sides are equal. Just an additional question, how do you know that all sides are equal?
Those strokes, the lines,
Exactly, those small lines. The small lines here between A and B, and the small line between B and C, and that small line between A and C, then those small lines mean that the triangles or the lines are equal. Now that you know that this is the equilateral triangle, can you now calculate the perimeter of that triangle?
It's 36 millimeters.
36 millimeters. And how did you get that? How did you find it?
12 times 3.
Exactly. So it will be 12 multiplied by 3 because all three sides are equal. So if you say 12 plus 12 plus 12, that will give you 36 millimeters. Definitely. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time and the trouble to answer this question, Amo. Thank you very much indeed. Right? Amo has just told us that this is an equilateral triangle, and of course, the three sides are equal. And he was able to now calculate the perimeter of the triangle. So we are not going to waste a lot of time. We are just going to proceed with our lesson. And of course, looking at the next one. We will look at the next one here, which will probably guide us. The next triangle, which follows. You can look at the triangle. We have triangle EDF or DEF. Yes, we can start with D, is fine. DEF is our new triangle, and this triangle is a bit different from the other one. But in this triangle, I don't want you to find the perimeter. I want you to find the side, the missing side, which is EF. So find the size of that missing side, which is now EF. We will come to the perimeter, but before we get there, I want us to now calculate the missing side. Yes, Amu, once again, let me just go to unmute you quickly.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
It's an isosceles triangle, and the missing side is 40 millimeters.
So the type of triangle here is an isosceles triangle. And how do you know, Amu, that this is an isosceles triangle?
Because two sides are equal, but the other isn't.
Yes, you can see that two sides are equal. And how do you know? Because of the two lines. You can see those two lines, they demonstrate that the two lines are equal. So ED and EF, those two lines are equal. So EF will be 70 millimeters. EF will be 70 millimeters. Now, before you hang on, Amo, let's say that DF, the size of DF is 60 millimeters. I'm just going to give it to you as 60 millimeters. What will be the perimeter of this triangle?
It will be 200 millimeters.
It will be 200 millimeters. And how do you find that?
By adding all the sides.
By adding all the sides. Thank you very much indeed, Amo. Thank you. So Amo has just shown us that all that you need to do now is to add all the sides in order to find the perimeter. So remember that the definition of the perimeter, we have always defined it as the distance around the edge of the shape. So the distance around the edge of the shape, if you move from E to F to D and back to E, then you have completed your race. That will be the perimeter. So the perimeter simply means you move from the starting point and move on the edge right up until you reach the initial point as well. So that on its own is the perimeter. Now we are going to look at the various other problems. We have now looked at the picture there Here we have the perimeter of a rectangle, which we need to calculate. Remember that a rectangle has got 4 sides as well. But in this case, you are told that you are given just 2 sides. In a rectangle, you are told that we must calculate the perimeter of this rectangle. It is 24 centimeters long and 18 centimeter wide. We need to calculate the perimeter of this particular rectangle. How are we going to calculate the perimeter of the rectangle given the 2 sides? We are given one side which is 24 centimeters, and then we also have the breadth there which is 18 centimeters. How then do we calculate the perimeter? I want us to calculate the area, the perimeter, and perhaps we must also proceed to calculate the area, just as we revise. Remember, this is part of our revision. We have already done the perimeter of various polygons, and we also did a few areas. We have done the area of the square, the area of a rectangle. We have learned about the area of a triangle as well. So today I want us to calculate the perimeter when we are given the length of 24 centimeters. Right, let's just check our participants. You are now quiet. I see that because this is a word problem, it's a bit different than the one with the picture. I've shown you the pictures now. Now I'm giving you the word problem. Now there is no picture. So this actually means now you need to visualize, or you can actually draw this rectangle. If you have a pen and a paper with you, just draw the rectangle, which is 24 centimeters long, and then the breadth is 18 centimeters. And thereafter, just calculate the perimeter. Right. Can we carry on? I see that we have got 2 hands, in fact 3. Right, we have D. Mukome. We have D. Mukome there. We also have Joanna. Let's go to Joanna quickly.
So the answer is 84 centimeters.
The answer is
84 centimeters.
84 centimeters. And how do you find 84 centimeters?
The formula is 2 times L plus B. So it was 2 times 24 plus 18. So 24 plus 18 is 42. And then we say 2 times 42, which is 8.
Exactly. So basically you multiply 24 by 2 to get 48, and you multiply 18 by 2 to get 36. And thereafter you add the 2. So did you add 36 and 48 to get 84?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. So I fully agree with you, Joanna. The perimeter of this rectangle will be 84 centimeters. So it will be clearer when you have drawn it, but also by inspection, you can just calculate the perimeter. I'm just saying for those learners who may not know, how did we find 84? Please make sure that you draw the perimeter. If you have a pen and a paper, draw the rectangle. And once you have drawn your rectangle, you'll be able to see that the longest side should be 24 centimeters and the breadth will be 18. And once you have all 4 sides, remember that the opposite side of a rectangle is equal, or opposite sides of a rectangle are equal, then you will see that it will be 24 plus 24, which is the opposite one, and plus 18 plus 18. 18 and 18 gives you 36, and then 24 plus 24 will give you 48. And of course, if you add them together, 48 as well as 36, you will get the sum of 84 centimeters, and 84 will be your perimeter. So therefore, the perimeter in that case will be 84 centimeters. And of course, that is the first word problem after the two triangles that we've just done. Now we are proceeding with our revision activity. You can see that how I calculated it. I said that the perimeter is the distance around the edge of a shape, and the length is given there as 24 centimeters and the breadth as 18. So you can also make use of the formula. Remember, we have the formula to calculate the perimeter, and that formula is P is equal to 2L plus 2B. Why 2L and 2B? Because of the two opposite sides. So it will be 2L plus 2B. And of course, if you were to add this together, you will see that, this is 2 into L plus B, where the length is 24 and the breadth is 18. So in my case here, I've added 24 and 18 to get 42. And if you multiply 42 by 2, again, you get the same answer that was given by Joanna. So thank you very much indeed. Now, we are proceeding now. We have to revise the perimeter of a regular octagon. And the length of each side of the octagon is 17 centimeters. So I want you to remember your polygons. Remember, we have an octagon. And before you can answer your question, you need to remind yourself about the octagon. How do you define an octagon? So if you cannot correctly define the octagon, you may struggle to find the perimeter of an octagon. So you need to know what an octagon is. So you need to first know what an octagon is. If you don't know, then you will struggle to find the perimeter of an octagon, right? We have lands here. Let's give now Junior a chance. Junior, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I can't hear you, Junior.
Sir,
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you. Please go ahead.
the answer will be 136.
136.
Yes, sir.
How do you find 136?
Since an octagon has 8 sides, I had to plus 17 8 times.
Okay,
so
so you have, okay, go ahead.
So that'll give me the answer.
Okay,
One-
so okay, go ahead.
No, sir, I'm done.
Okay, so you have managed to define the octagon, and you said that the octagon is an 8-sided figure. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Once you have defined the octagon, you should be able to see that the octagon has got 8 sides, and of course, now that it is 8 sides, then you can just simply multiply 8 by 17 centimeters. And yes, remember, multiplication is also known as repeated addition. So if you don't want to multiply 17 by 8, you can add 17 plus 17 plus 17 8 times. So it will be 8 of those. So it will be 17 plus 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 17. So there will be 8 of those. And then you add them together to get the final answer, which will be your perimeter. Alternatively, of course, as Junior has just said, you can just multiply 8 by 17. Remember that an octagon is an 8-sided polygon. So a regular octagon will have 8 sides. So the perimeter is the sum of all the 8 sides. So if you add all the sides, then as Junior has just done, then you will be able to tell that you can get now the perimeter. And of course, since we know that each side is 17, therefore the P there is 8s, which is 8 sides, and then you multiply 8 by 17 to get 136 centimeters. So thank you very much indeed, Junior, for taking the time and the trouble to answer this question. Now we proceed to find the area now of a triangle. We are now going to calculate the area of this triangle where you have got the line BC, which is 12 centimeters, and we have the height AT, which is 9 centimeters. So you can actually draw the triangle just to demonstrate your understanding of this particular problem. And then, of course, the base, which will be BC, is 12 centimeters, and the height, which is 80, is 9 centimeters. So let's calculate the area of the triangle. I see that Joanna's hand is already up. I'm just going to give Joanna a chance to just carry on. Joanna, please go ahead. You can go ahead, Joanna, just to calculate the area of the triangle. Joanna, can you hear me? All right, let me.
So I don't know the answer.
Oh, I saw your hand was up. Okay. Thank you, Joanna. Right. I will just quickly do it for you. And of course, I just want to remind you of the area of a triangle. Remember, you have done the area of a square already. You have equally done the area of a rectangle. And right now, I want to take you back and just remind you of the area of a rectangle. Remember that the area of a rectangle is given by the formula A is equal to half a base times the perpendicular height. So you have the base, and then of course you multiply that by the height. And in this case, we are given the base, which is BC, as well as the height, which is 80. So you can simply use the formula. As you know, the area is half. That is the formula to calculate the area of a triangle. That is half of the base multiplied by the height. And remember that the base is 12 centimeters. There we are. And the height is 80, which is 9 centimeters. Then you can substitute the value of the height. And you can see that if you multiply 12 by 9, you will get 108. And of course, if you multiply that by half, the answer will be 54 square centimeters. So that will be your area. So the area of this triangle will be 54 square centimeters. That will be the area of our triangle. I hope that you will take the time just to revise the area, the formula there. It's very important that you don't forget the formula. But before we can proceed with the next one, you have given me we have calculated the perimeter in this case. We have already calculated the perimeter. I want us to calculate the area of this rectangle before we carry on. I just want us to calculate the area of the rectangle. And then, of course, you will remember the formula that was used. That is the formula to calculate the area of the rectangle. Yes, let's go back to Amo. Amo, yes, please go ahead. Amo? Yes, go ahead. Amo. Yes, I can hear you now.
The area is 432 centimeters.
Okay, the area is 432 centimeters. And how did you find that?
24 times 18.
Yes, that will be the length multiplied by the breadth. So it's very important to remember that the area is equal to the length times the breadth. And of course, that will be 24 times 18. So you multiply 24 by 18 to get the area of the rectangle. So the area of the rectangle will be the length times the breadth. And this is something that we have already learned. And of course, as Amo said, the answer will be 432. Thank you very much indeed, Amo. We are proceeding now. I thought we must not forget about the area. Now that we have calculated the area of the triangle here, we can now check the perimeter of a square. Remember that a square, all four sides are equal. But in this case, we are given the area of a square, and we are told that the area of a square is 225 square centimeters. Now, what we need to calculate is the perimeter of the square. So we now know what the area is of a square. We need to find the perimeter. We now know the square, the area of the square. All that we need to do is to calculate the area, the perimeter of the square. Let's just carry on. Let's carry on. Right, we will move now to, I see still one hand. What about the rest? Palesa Matuludi, are you part of the class now? Can you please calculate the perimeter of this particular square? I want to go to give Palesa a chance. I see the usual hands are up now, but I want to give everybody a chance. Tumelo, I can see you are here as well. Can you please tell us what will be the perimeter of such a square? Right, I'm just gonna take this opportunity and give it to, I see that now our participants have increased. from 2 to 3. All right, still Amo, Joanna, and Junior. Let's give Joanna a chance now. Joanna, please go ahead. You can just unmute yourself there, Joanna, please.
So the answer is 60.
The answer is 60.
Yes.
Right? How do you find that?
Okay, firstly, the square root of 225 centimeters is 15, and then a square has 4 sides, so then I said 15 times 4, and then the answer is 60 centimeters.
Okay. So you firstly find the side, and just tell me, how did you find the side? How did you calculate the side?
The square root of 225 centimeters.
Exactly. So the square root of 225. And what is the square root of 225?
15.
15, yes. The square root of 225 is 15. And thereafter, once you know the side of the square, you can then use the side to find the perimeter. Of course, the perimeter now will be 15 times 4, which is 60 centimeters. I fully agree with you. The perimeter will be 60 centimeters, which is calculated as follows. You take the side of the square there, and then you multiply it by 4, because the reason being all 4 sides are equal. If you don't want to multiply it by 4, you can just add all of them. You can just add 4 sides. So it will be 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 15. So there will be 4 of those. And then if 15 plus 15 is 30, 30 plus 15 gives you 45, and 45 plus 15 will give you 60. So in my case, what I've done here, what I've done in this case is as follows. Where this is where the formula comes in. You can remember that the formula to calculate the area of a square is given by A, which stands for area, is equal to S squared, where S stands for the side. If you don't want to use S, you can use L, small letter L for the length, right? And of course, in this case, I just took the S squared to the left-hand side and then A to the right-hand side. S squared will be, we know that the area is 225, and then you substitute 225. And thereafter, in order to get S, you need to now introduce the square root. Remember the square root both sides. The square root of S squared is S, and the square root of 225 is 15. Therefore, you have one side there, which is 15. And if you multiply that by 4, you definitely get the perimeter, right? We are proceeding to do the last one there. An area of the floor is given as 18,4 square meters. We want to put tiles, square tiles on the floor. We only know the area of the floor, which is 18,4 square meters. So now if you want to buy your tiles, with sides of 20 centimeters each, how many tiles are you going to buy? Those square tiles. If one tile, if the side of one tile is 20 centimeter, remember it's a square tile. So meaning that the side is 20 centimeters. Now you need to buy tiles to tile the floor, which has the area of 18,4 square meters. Just look at the square meters there. and look at the centimeters. What did I say in the previous lesson about conversion? It is very important to convert. You need to work with the same unit of measurement. So if you have a tile which is in centimeters, you need to convert your centimeters to meters in order to know how many tiles are going to be needed. If you don't convert centimeters to meters, then you have to convert the meters to centimeters so that you can work with the same unit of measurement. Let's see our participants, if there's any. I'm sure that you are still busy. Joanna, I see that your hand is up. Our hands are, all right, the hands are down now. Is there anyone who wants to try? Right? Yes, we have D. Mukome PC.
Yes, sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sir, are we not supposed to be saying 18,4 millimeters times 20 centimeters?
No, you cannot multiply by 20. But why do you want to multiply by 20? Excuse me.
No, I was just trying to see if you can do it the
Oh.
same way.
Yes, look, I don't dispute it would not be wrong for you to attempt to multiply, but the first thing that I want you to do is to make sure that we work with the same unit of measurement. Remember, if you are in a house
Yes, sir.
and you have the house which is in square meters, in order for you to know exactly how many tiles you need, to fit into the whole house, you will need to work with the measurements that are given in square meters. So if the tile that you are buying, let's say you go to buy a tile and the tile is measured in centimeters, then somehow you need to align your centimeters to meters. You need to know, for you to know how many tiles you need to buy, you need to align the two. In other words, you must align the centimeters with the meters. And the only thing that you can do in this case is just to convert. You can convert your centimeters to meters, or you can convert meters to meters, so that once you are on the same level, once you work with the same unit of measurement, it will be easy for you to know how many tiles do you need to buy.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I see that we have some other hands here, and of course, let's carry on with those hands. I'm just going to give now Junior. Junior will have a chance now to speak, and of course, let me quickly unmute Junior. Junior, can you go ahead?
So isn't the answer 368?
Okay, so you feel that you will need 368 tiles in
Yes,
the floor.
sir. Yes, sir.
Well, let me just tell you that we will multiply it as follows. The tiles will be 460. And how do you know? Yes, it will be 460
4
tiles.
meters. You know that 1 meter equals
Right.
here.
Yes. So it will be 460 tiles. And how do we know it will be 460? Firstly, we need to remember that the tile is 20 centimeter. That is the side of one tile. So in square centimeters, one tile will be 400 square centimeters. That is because you simply multiply the area of the tile is 20 by 20. So it's 20 by 20, which is 400 square centimeters. So that will be the size of one tile in square centimeters. But remember, the house or the area there is in square meters. So you need to convert centimeters to meters so that you can work with the same unit of measurement. And of course, or alternatively, you can convert your meters to centimeters. Now look at what we have done here. We know that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. That is the knowledge that we have. Therefore, 1 square meter will be equal to 1 meter times 1 meter. And this, of course, will be 100 centimeter times 100 centimeters. So, in other words, 1 square meter is equal to 10,000 square centimeters. I repeat, 1 square meter is equal to 10,000 square centimeters. And if you have to convert now your 18,4 square meters and you convert that to square centimeters, you'll see that it will be 184,000 square centimeters. Now that we are working with the same unit of measurement, we know that one tile is 400 square centimeters. Now the area is 184,000 square centimeters. You divide that by 400, meaning that you divide it by the tile measurement. You will see that once you divide 184,000 by 400, you will get 460. So you will need 460 tiles in that particular area. And of course, I wanted to give you an activity there, which would be the homework part of the revision. You can just check how many square centimeters are there in each of the following. The first one is 200 square millimeters, followed by 550 square millimeters, followed by 320 square millimeters. So you can do the second one as well. And this is all part of the revision. We have done this, as you can see, we have done it on the 19th of May. Now, I wanted us to talk about the volume, but I don't think that the time will allow us. I will just, indicate that we have already done the volume yesterday. And of course, these are some of the examples that we did, where you find that when you have the length, the breadth, and the height, you can use that information to calculate the volume. So you can see in this case, the length is 7, the breadth is 3, and the height is 2. And then, of course, you can multiply those just to find the volume. Again, this is the cube. In a cube, you can simply find the volume 5 to the power of 3. So you multiply 5 by 5 by 5 to get 125. That is part of the volume that we have done. Once again, if the length is different, it doesn't matter. You use the formula to calculate the volume. And of course, the volume will be L times B times H, which will give you 120 there. We have done this activity before, where a cube has got dimensions 6 by 6 by 6. If you have to calculate the volume, you will be able to calculate the volume as follows, which is now L times B times H, and it will give you 216 cubic centimeters. Now, this brings us to the end of our lesson today. And of course, we will have a chance to meet once again on Monday. Once again, please reach us out on our page. The website is www.africateengeeks.co.za. Equally, you can reach us on our social media platforms such as Twitter @AfricaTeenGeeks, Facebook as well. You can search for Africa Teen Geeks. Now, this lesson was brought to you by the Lockdown eSchool in partnership with the Sasol Foundation. Until we meet again on Monday, thank you very much indeed.